In this video, your house floods. That sucks. You're probably thinking right now, oh man, I hope this never happens to me in my home. And I do too, but it does happen. And obviously you care about it or you wouldn't have clicked. So here's what you can expect. First, we're gonna talk about what you do when you find water, then how the mitigation companies out there work and how they interact with your insurance. And then we'll shift into a breakdown of restoring your house. Lastly, we'll have a before and after, and we'll talk about timeline. Let's get started. So obviously you're going to be making a phone call right out of the gate when you find a leak in your home. And please do not call your insurance first. They will not show up and address the problem. Call a restoration company. They'll show up. They will address the flood. And they'll do it in the middle of the night. Like, they're a 24-hour service. So if you find a flood, they'll show up and at the very least, get the water turned off. The other two things that come into play is sometimes you don't need an insurance claim, and so if you call a restoration company, they will be able to assess the actual damage that was done by the flood. And if you do need an insurance claim, they will be able to maximize it compared to what your knowledge is of how these things work. Alright, now that you know what to do when you find a leak in your home, let's talk about what mitigation companies do to address said leak. They're going to do 4 things, and the first one is removing all the contents, the personal items, the knickknacks that you got in the area. Next, they're going to suck out all the water that is sitting on the ground, and they got big wetbacks for this. It's a pretty quick step for them. After all the water's sucked out, they're going to tear into your walls. Anything that's wet goes, and so typically you're going to see drywall, floors, and cabinets just get pulled. After everything's tore out and masked off and kind of isolated, they're going to set up fans and dehumidifiers and dry your house out over the next couple of days. Then they'll come back, they'll pick them up, and it's time for us to show up and get to the next step, which is rebuild. The part that we come into play. And in this specific case, we're going to be working in a double-wide trailer park house. The cause of the flood was the water heater leaking over time. So there was a slow drip that started hitting the subfloor, and once the subfloor got fully saturated, it failed. And you can clearly see that. Ain't nobody gonna be wanting to walk on that floor. Anyway, insurance claims look a little different than you're like hiring somebody to do work. Basically, you're looking at line of sight and damage done, which means in this specific case, we're going to be working mainly in the laundry room and in the bedroom. So the first thing we need to get after is the subfloor. That whole thing needs replaced, which means we need to take out the walls, which means tear out is the first step in getting this place back together. Tearing this job out was like waking up on your birthday, except everybody forgot it was your birthday. It started out great and then progressively just went downhill as the day went on. We started with the walls, and the walls just popped right off. We were stoked. We're like, oh, this job's gonna be a piece of cake. But once we got after the subfloor, we realized that we were up against quite the combo. The subfloor was glued, nailed, and stapled particle board that had been waterlogged and then dried, which just meant it's gonna break off in chunks, which is not ideal for tearing it out. Ultimately, we spent a little extra time pulling staples and nails and scraping the joists clean of all the glued gunk stuck to them. That's something else. It's done now though, and we're gonna move on to step number 2, which is subfloor installation. Alright, this step does not need a lengthy explanation. Basically, you take some 2x4s and cut them to fit in between joists, and that's called blocking. You put the 2x4s where the seams go. After you have all the blocking done, you slap down the sheet good that you cut to fit, and then you staple it. Yep, that's it. So in any mobile home flood loss, there's a space that's affected that has to be addressed every time, and you're looking at it, the crawl space. In this specific case, the mitigation team pulled all the wet insulation underneath the bedroom and the laundry room, and to get to it, they had to cut away the protective barrier known as belly paper. Insulation is the stuff that keeps heat in your house or cold in your house, and belly paper is only installed in mobile homes, and it protects from moisture from the ground and also blocks insects and small critters that could be hanging out underneath your house. Anyway, we start things off by getting the insulation that was pulled back up, and in this case I was just using a utility knife to cut it to fit. After all the insulation is put up, we next had to attack the belly paper, and belly paper is frustrating to put in just because it's so big and awkward, but we found that if you crawl in with it already unrolled and then you use zip ties to attach it to the previous belly paper, you're gonna win. And that's what we did in this case, and it's done now, so looking back at it, it's like, no big deal. Done. Let's go. Okay, so while I'm battling claustrophobia and fending off spiders, Nate and Pops were just upstairs, big chillin'. Their job was to get the walls put back together, and to be honest, it was a piece of cake for them because when we tore them out, we really tried hard to keep them intact, which just means that they snapped right back in when they went to put them up. And yeah, we're ready to set drywall, and in this case, we're treating the drywall like paneling because this is a mobile home, and that is how it was installed previously.
Locked and loaded.
We really caught a break here. We stapled it up and filled the holes where the staples went, and that just dramatically sped us up. We are now ready to paint, and that's amazing. You're probably wondering to yourself, why the heck are they painting the whole bedroom? That makes no sense. Just the closet was affected and the laundry room. Well, in the insurance eyes, line of sight matters, and since that closet was affected, the entire bedroom gets painted, and that's what we did. This also affects the floors, which are coming up right now, and I'm gonna assume you have no clue how carpet's installed, so I'm gonna explain it. Yup, first you start with the pad. The pad you just bring into the room, you unroll it, you cut it to fit, and then you staple her down. Next up, we bring the carpet in, and we cut it loosely to fit, kind of just make sure that they're hitting all the walls and we aren't crooked or have any gaps against the walls. Once we're feeling confident with where it's at in the room, it's time to attack the seams, and basically you just cut two perfectly straight lines so that they match up nice, and then you use seam tape to glue it together. Now that you have a cohesive piece that is the size of your room, it's time to stretch it, and our goal when stretching it is to get the carpet nice and tight and then hook it on the tack strip, which is a piece of wood along the perimeter. And yeah, then you just cut off the extra bits of carpet and your carpet's installed. Not really that difficult of a task after you've done it a couple times. I wouldn't recommend doing this on your own though, no. Let's move on to vinyl plate. Come on. Okay, often overlooked, but arguably the most important step of installing a free-floating floor is floor prep, believe it or not. Yeah, so the goal with floor prep is to just get rid of any abrupt changes in height, and you do that by using a product like Ardex Feather Finish or Oozine 886, and you just get your subfloor rolling smooth. What this will accomplish is it eliminates any points of failure in your new floor when you walk on it. Of course, you gotta have a gap around the perimeter and make sure it's all clicked together correctly, but if you do that, you're in to win. That was the last step, so let's move on to arguably my favorite part of the whole video, the before and after.
Too hot now, I radiate, don't need a rear view, they behind me, cause my future's so bright in my blind. Hold up, why I gotta shine so bright, don't need a reason, escorting my haters out, they wish you sleep, it can't be nobody else, I'm a